Today, we're going to throw everything we know about teaching sit out the window and start fresh with a couple new tricks for the perfect sit. We're going to use food luring and precise timing to direct our dog into a calm sit where he will learn to stay until you release him. So why teach a sit at all? A sit can be useful for many scenarios, such as to help your dog wait before being released out the front door for a walk, wait for his meal so you don't get trampled, as well as to help with fun tricks in the future, such as sit pretty. It also gives a great starting position for things like shake a paw or wave. Using a release cue will help stabilize the sit and keep your dog in position. A release cue is a verbal cue that signals to your dog that they are finished with the behavior. In this case, that they no longer need to remain in the sit. When you say your release cue, your dog should get up from the position and come to you. Okay. Practice the release cue with your dog before adding it to new behaviors. Do this by having your dog in any position a few feet from you, then get his attention and encourage him to come towards you. When he does, click or mark and reward. After a few repetitions, introduce the release cue. This could be something like okay or break. Wait a second before encouraging him to approach, then click and reward. All right, now let's work on sit. The first thing that you want to do before you start training is define your criteria. What will you be rewarding? With sit, we're going to start by rewarding the moment his butt hits the floor. We'll be luring into position by putting the food in a closed fist or between your fingers and hold your hand near his nose. Then lure his nose up a little higher than your dog's head and over the shoulders. The moment his rear touches the floor, click or use your verbal marker and reward while he is still in the sitting position. You can then release him with your release cue. Practice with the food lure until he is easily getting into the sit position, and then practice luring empty-handed. Now we can introduce the verbal cue. You can use any cue you want. This time, I'll be using sit, and here's how it's done. First, say your verbal cue, sit, wait 1 second, then you can lure him into position, click and reward, then release from the sit. When waiting the 1 second, your dog will either get into the position or look at you like you're crazy. If he gets in position, click and reward, a couple of treats even. Otherwise, lure him into position, click and reward when he gets in position, and then repeat the exercise. With practice, your dog will make the connection and not need the luring anymore. Sit. Keep in mind that without regular practice with any trick, you may need to go back to basics with training to refresh his memory, especially with newer skills. When he reliably sits on verbal cue, start working on sitting for a longer period of time. To do this, instead of giving the verbal marker, which is your click or yes, the moment his butt touches the floor, wait for 1 second of sitting, maybe a little less for squirmier pups. Practice lots, then gradually increase the time sporadically. So you might start with 2 seconds, and 4, 2, 3, 5, and make sure your dog is successful most of the time. If he struggles, break it down into smaller steps. Remember not to train for more than 5 to 15 minutes at a time. Shorter training sessions more often are best. Great! Finally, in a similar way to how you added duration, now you can work on distractions. Start with easy, simple distractions that your dog can be successful with, like moving your arm or holding a toy. If he doesn't succeed, lure him back into the sit and try an easier distraction. Finally, you can add in distance the same way you added more time. Start with a tiny step or movement away, then return to where you were, click and reward. And remember to release after you've rewarded in position as well. Great job! Quick tip, rewarding your dog while they're in the desired position will make that a more rewarding position to be in, making it less likely that they will break the position early. If you only reward after releasing, your dog may struggle to remain in the position. Practice regularly to proof and maintain the behavior so you can count on your dog sitting when you need it most.